I don't know about you guys, but I've played a lot of UFC games. I've played every UFC game that's come out since UFC Undisputed 2009. Hell, I've actually earned all the achievements for 4 out of the 5 EA Sports UFC games. The point that I'm trying to make is, I've spent a lot of time playing UFC games, and outside of playing online matches, the game mode that I spent the most time playing was career mode. And today, I want to dive into what I believe would improve the career mode for the next UFC game. And I'm not naive, know that UFC 6 is already in development, and there's a good chance that nothing I suggest will actually make it into the game, but I still wish to talk about it. Some of you might agree with my opinions, some of you may not. And I'm sure that there are some suggestions that you guys have that I haven't even considered. But let's just dive into it. I want to start off with some of the more obvious ones, like bringing back post-fight interviews. This could be with Joe Rogan, DC, Michael Bisping, whoever. And I want to add press conferences too. This way, we can forge what kind of personality that we want our fighter to have, whether it's being respectful to our opponents or cocky/arrogant. And I think this will also give us a good opportunity to call out fighters, and that way rivalries will seem much more organic. I think this would also be a really nice opportunity to add a feature during press conferences where if you're facing an opponent that you've beaten before, the game will actually let you bring up how the previous fight went. Like if you beat your opponent by submission, like choke them out, it'll give you an option to bring that up. Or if you knock them out, you can bring that up too.
Connor, in the build-up to the last fight, you were unusually kind to Dustin. Now on fight week, it's the exact opposite. So when did that switch happen?
Because he got knocked the out.
If you go the heel route, maybe the crowd will actually boo you during your walkout. And if you're respectful, maybe people will react to you similar to how they reacted to George St. Pierre. This also kind of leads into another thing. I want to bring back weigh-ins, right? I want there to be a weigh-in cutscene, especially for like title fights or if you have a main event. And I think this is an opportunity because, the career modes in EA Sports UFC, they like to push rivalries between fighters that don't necessarily seem organic. But if you two are fighters that are supposed to have a lot of beef with each other, I want there to be an opportunity where if things get heated, maybe you're presented with an opportunity to like maybe shove your opponent on stage. I want this to be a feature. I want stuff to be a part of the game, to make it feel a lot more immersive. If you truly hate this person, or you truly have respect for them, I want to be able to really display that in the game. The next big thing that I want to bring up is I want there to be more opportunities for your fighter to move up and down weight classes. Not just for champion versus champion fights, although I mean that's a pretty cool feature too. Being able to move up or down a weight class to face another champion in a different weight class. Love it. Keep that in. But even if you're not a champion, I want there to be more options to move up and down. I mean, you can actually look through some of the career modes that I've done on my channel for the UFC Undisputed mod, right? I actually just did a career mode with Chuck Norris, and I think I started off as a middleweight fighter, and I think throughout that career, I eventually moved up to light heavyweight, moved back down to middleweight, and then eventually down to welterweight, where I became a 3-division champion. None of the UFC games that EA has produced have let you become a champion in 3 different divisions. And I've been able to become a 3-division champion in at least 2 of my career modes so far. I want that to be an option for the next EA Sports UFC game. And I think another thing that kind of irks me, especially for EA Sports UFC, I don't want my fighter to make it into the UFC, have like 10 plus fights of first round finishes, and still struggling to get a championship fight. I recently did a video where I replayed through EA Sports UFC 5's career mode in the heavyweight division. I made a Francis Ngannou character, and every fight that I had in UFC ended in the very first round, knockout or TKO. And it took me, I believe, 10 fights in a row, 10 fight winning streak with all first round finishes to get a chance to fight for the championship. I'm not going to say that people haven't had to go on really long win streaks in UFC to earn a title shot, but if anyone was knocking people out in the first round consistently over and over again, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have to win 10 fights in a row to get a championship fight. You know, one of the things that I can actually praise EA Sports UFC for doing is they don't lock you out of specific camps. You are free to go and train with a bunch of different fighters and learn moves, right? That's fine. That's cool. But I think you can expand on that. For example, I think if you go and learn a move from a certain fighter, like let's say a rear naked choke from Habib or maybe a front kick from Anderson Silva, your fighter could get a, let's say like a temporary boost for his upcoming fight in certain areas. Maybe like 5 points, right? If you go and train with Habib, learn a rear naked choke, maybe you get like 5 points added to your takedown offense, and then like maybe 5 points added for your submissions. Or if you're training with Anderson Silva, maybe you get like 5 points added for your speed and 5 points added to your kick power. I don't know. I'm just kind of spitballing here. My next point actually has to deal with injuries. I've actually never really been a big fan of trying to avoid injuries. I kind of wish that injuries weren't really part of the career mode in general. You know, I look back at UFC Undisputed 3, which I believe is the standard for, you know, all MMA games. I think it's the greatest MMA game ever. And there were no injuries in that career mode. You could fight 4 times a year, and you never had to worry about your fighter getting injured. But if you're going to keep injuries into the career mode, a couple of ideas. Let's say your fighter loses by a limb submission, right? Gets stuck in an armbar, and then, oh, there's a chance that your arm just snaps. Your limb is just broken. Let's say you have to take an extended recovery period. Makes sense. But let me kind of dive into this, right? Let's say you were on the cusp of cracking into the top 5. You get caught in an armbar, and, you know, your arm snaps. You have to be out on the sidelines. Well, while you're out on the sidelines, maybe the rest of the division kind of moves up. They move up a couple spots, you move down. That's kind of realistic, right? You're not fighting, so other people just take your spot, and you have to build your way back up. Kind of similar to like if someone were to check your leg kick and your shin breaks. You know, you take an extended recovery period, and you know, people are going to pass you by. If you're going to have injuries, just expand on it. And the last point that I'm going to bring up is probably the most obvious, but for the love of God, bring back Pride Mode. Seriously, you've had 5 EA Sports UFC games, and not one of them has included Pride. I think it's ridiculous that the last time a UFC game had Pride incorporated into it was from 2012. We're going on 13 years without having another UFC game with a Pride mode. And let me add that UFC Undisputed 3 had opportunities where you could fight in Pride during your career mode. Alright? It's been done before. You can bring it back. Just bring back Pride. That's all I got for you guys today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching. Let me know if you agree down in the comments below, or if there's another feature that you want to see in the next UFC game, let me know. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.